From the days of the first Corvette C4 in 1984.
A new Chevrolet Corvette like never before. A Corvette superb in its engineering and technology and defiant in its performance.
Is this an important moment for you?
Oh, it sure is.
To the days the last one rolled off the assembly line.
They will build this, the last of a legendary generation of Corvettes known as the C4s. It is the car that made the Corvette more famous than it ever was. It is the car that baby boomer Corvette lovers could finally own.
Known as the most advanced car on the planet in 1984, in 1983 there was no Corvette, and debuting the 1984 C4 Corvette at that time was a big deal. Even with the L83 and crossfire injection only boasting around 200 horsepower, this thing still put down some respectable times in its day from what they had seen thanks to EPA regulations and things like that in recent years before that. Now, the C4 Corvette had 5 different engines: the L83, the L98, the LT1, and the LT4, and of course the LT5. They also had 2 different variations of the manual transmission. Between 84 and 88, they had the 4+3 Doug Nash, which was a 4-speed with a button on the middle of the shift sock. You could actually go into another overdrive gear from 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is very interesting to me. And in 1987 and 88, I believe that transmission got revised because it wasn't holding up to very much abuse before that. Eventually, they went on to the 6-speed, and of course, they were also offered in automatic. Now, with over 360,000 units produced of the C4 Corvette between 84 and 96, that is insane to me. And it wasn't until around 1990 when the ZR1 that was outfitted with the LT5 really changed the game for C4. Now, this thing ranged from 375 to 405 plus horsepower between 90 and 95, and they only sold about 7,000 units of these cars, and for good reason. You see, the LT5 was built by hand by a company called Mercury Marine, designed by Lotus, and I believe GM contracted Mercury Marine to hand build these engines, and it was an extremely expensive thing. But the good part about it is this thing had gotten a lot of attention to detail, and this thing also, the ZR1, even competed in this endurance race. It went over 4,200 miles at 175 miles an hour for 24 hours straight. That's insane, even to today's standards. It's pretty cool. And the Mercury Marine Company, they also wanted to build a boat with this engine, and so they did. And they also wanted to apparently tow it with a ZR1, and so they also did that too, which to me, that's kind of cool. They towed a giant boat with a ZR1 Corvette. Also, the cool thing about that ZR1 is I have a little toy car here of the ZR1. It's also the only Corvette still in existence in history that is a dual overhead cam 4-valve per cylinder engine. So I mean, really, to have a 4-cam Corvette is really unique, and the price of these things are pretty much as low as that you're going to see them. I really feel like they're at the bottom right now. Really, any Corvette C4 is about as low as it's going to get. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some websites where you can find C4s. Obviously, they're not rare. They seem to be everywhere. I walk down the road and go to Gateway Classics. There's 3 C4s in there and tons of other cars. And granted, the C4 is kind of like a modern day muscle car, sports car, whatever. Really big bang for the buck, relatively, cheap for what you get. And what I noticed about looking around at this Gateway Classics, and if you've ever been to a Gateway Classics cars, they have all sorts of different cars for sale. The C4 is probably the best handling car of the group. Of course, it's a Corvette, but still, there's something to be said for that as well. Now, Also, I went to a local auto shop and there was another C4 sitting there getting work done. So, I mean, there's people still running around with these C4s, and there's plenty in good shape and plenty in bad shape, plenty cheap and plenty expensive ones. Corvette was always competing with like the 911 on the track, and these things back in the day you'd have to read in magazines before the internet, of course. But the cool thing about the ZR1 is it was just smoking the 911 around the racetrack, which is pretty cool achievement for Corvette. And although the C4 design kind of got old after a while, it still is pretty respectable, and it's still kind of a neat car for the money. I mean, I think about the C4 as kind of being somewhat exotic. It's got the hood that lifts up, and even like the L83, the crossfire injection, as crappy of a motor it was, it just, at the car shows and stuff, it stands out because it looks like a real model car. I mean, it's just interesting to see, you know, the target top and this, you know, different looking engine designs, and even the L98 is a good looking engine. So anyways, that's my video about the C4 Corvettes. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to throw in some clips in this video, as well as some sites that I went into and looked into all the different C4 Corvettes that are available on the internet. I think I've found well over 200 C4 Corvettes between Gateway Classics and Autotempest.com, which searches multiple different sites, as you guys probably already know. But if you're in the market for a C4 Corvette, there's plenty out there. So Gateway Classic Cars is where I went into, and they had three of them sitting there in the showroom floor, and it was probably the best handling car out of the whole bunch. But if you go on their website, they have 73 available right now, and you can sort these out however you want them, from the 80s, the early 80s, all the way up until, of course, 96 is where you can find your low-mile C4. Now, I did also go to Autotempest.com. This is a site a lot of automotive enthusiasts use to find the cheapest whatever. The cheapest one on here right now is $3,500, which you can even find a C4 cheaper than that, I guess, if you're really looking hard enough. I went on eBay as well, and they have the ZR1. This is where I always like to look at these just to see what they're doing. The prices of these have already bottomed out, and they're continuing to climb. My personal favorite ZR1 is the 1990, because you got the older front end here with the newer interior and rear body panels. So that's just my personal favorite. The most horsepower, of course, is going to be the newer one. But so that's where you can find a C4 Corvette. I hope you guys like this video. Like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching Jerry Jr.'s Garage. Shape design was in, and it seems as if